Hello, everyone, and welcome back to It Tastes Different Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Irwin, and welcome to this episode where we also have Patrick Smith
Hey everybody, how's it going?
and Shane Eisterhold along with us.
Welcome back, everyone.
All right. And on this episode, we are talking about what's on the menu, and that is going to be Grounded and what's for dessert. We are going to be talking about the new consoles, the upcoming console releases, and what we think of the brand new consoles that are coming out, and just kind of a general talk about that. But before we get to that, send it over to Patrick to tell everyone where you can find us.
Yeah, the best place to do is just visit our website, ittastes.different.com. That'll be a place where you can find all the links to our social media and to our streams, as well as you can subscribe from there. But on Facebook, you can find us at It Tastes Different. On Instagram, you can find us at It Tastes Different PC. And then on Twitter, you can find us at It Tastes Diff.
Let's talk about Grounded. We've been playing Grounded for a while now, since it came out in early access on the Xbox and PC. We mainly play on the Xbox. We just wanted to talk about our general thoughts of this game, and I'll send it over to you guys. What do you guys think? Patrick, go ahead and what do you think of Grounded so far?
So far, it's been pretty fun. I think it suffers from a lot of what early access games do is there's just not enough content. I mean, we have pretty much ran through from front to end of the game, really. We've found the secrets and found where you're supposed to go. And, right now we're just kind of running around really screwing around more than anything right now because we've pretty much got all the recipes minus a couple of them from killing like the bigger creatures in the wild. But overall, I think it's pretty fun, and I want to see more of it. I want the story to continue, but right now it's just we're seeing a lack of story just because it's early access. It seems like the story was extremely short to me.
Yeah, for sure it was. I mean, you don't get very far into the main game, really into the game itself before the story ends. And that is a work in progress. It is early access, so of course that will get expanded upon, but. Yeah, I agree. I can't wait to see more and what they do with this game. Shane, what's your impression so far?
I really enjoy it. I'm usually not a base builder type of person, but I do love the little world that they've made. I think the story is on a path to be really interesting and good. So far, I really enjoy it. It's like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but, kids get eaten by wolf spiders. So it's fun. It really is. Like you said, it's early access. It needs some fine tuning and some tweaks. There is some glitchiness to it sometimes, but other than that, I feel good with it.
Yeah, for sure. There's bugs in the bugs, right? But that's okay. I mean, that's a part of early access, and yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I mean, just to see the world being that small is, for me, it's a different experience. You don't play a lot of games where you're that small in your yard, and just being able to see things off in the distance, like a giant house and giant trees, and how big the bugs and things would be, and especially the spiders, which are horrifying, especially when you come up on one when you're not expecting it. That's always horrible.
Right. A flower pot, deadly spider.
Yeah. Right? See a flower pot? Don't go near it. Probably a spider.
Exactly.
I mean, besides that, it is an early access, but it's not really. I don't really think they're calling it even. Are they even calling it early access right now?
I still believe it does fall under the title of early access because the way I remember the story part ending was basically like ending off on a demo. But I'd have to double check. But I'm still pretty positive it's still considered an early access.
Well, it's in Xbox Game Preview, and Game Preview okay. For Xbox is considered early access games.
I got you.
Yeah. So even though it is on Game Pass, it is in the Game Preview section.
Okay. I mean, it seems to fare better than most early access games. For the most part, most of the bugs are very minor. There's a few, bugs that I would consider. Then nothing has seemed completely game breaking right now to me.
Yeah, there's some proximity issues when you have a bunch of debris on the ground from stuff you broke down or buildings that destroyed by spiders, ladybugs, them dang ladybugs.
Yeah, considering we had a huge, giant three-story, almost four-story grass house.
It was a four-story grass house before we lost it, and we We relocated.
Yeah, we had an ant infestation problem, and
Right.
the only way we could fix it was to destroy the whole house, and you can no longer visit that area of the map, let's say.
Yes.
Well, you can if you want it to go down to 5 frames a second.
Yeah, so I think they're going to suffer from a lot of what games like those type of games do. I can remember playing Subnautica when it first came out, and they didn't have like a trash can. So every time you would get materials that you didn't want to use, everybody just opened the front door to their little area and just dumped all the trash out the front door. And eventually, it became an issue to where there was so much junk in one area the game just couldn't handle it. And that's kind of what Grounded is suffering from, because they don't really have a way of cleaning up the environment right now. So everything is always persistent. So
Right. Yeah. If they put in something like a degradation system where basically things degrade over time, not necessarily things that you build. I don't really like games that do that where you have to do upkeep on the stuff that you've already built, but materials that are just laying around. If it after a certain amount of time, if it's not picked up, maybe it gets destroyed, and just disappears.
right. Yeah, because the backpacks are getting kind of annoying as well. When I'm seeing like 20 backpacks, and I'm like, which one was the one I just died with?
Yep. Yeah, the backpack issue is probably one of my biggest pet peeves. It's not game breaking or anything, but it's definitely annoying. You die, you see 40 backpacks because those are the last 40 times you had died. Which one do I get? Which one was theirs? Which one was mine? Because you can't steal or take anything from anybody else's backpack, and it doesn't clearly identify whose is what.
Until you run up on it. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
And
Exactly.
then you ran 4 miles to find the other guy's backpack.
And dodge 6 spiders and tons of ants.
Yeah, and also, there's certain areas of the map where they have them sectioned off where you can't go into yet because they're still under development. And there's certain sections of the map that have this yellow tape that tells you that, hey, this is beyond that point. But there are certain areas of the map that don't have that, and you just start running into this yellow mist that starts killing you, and it's at first, when you're first playing the game, you're not quite sure what's going on. You think you're going into some weird territory on the ground, but then you soon find out that's just an area you're not supposed to be in. But there's nothing that, besides the mist killing you, there's nothing that really tells you that, hey, if you go beyond this point without looking at your map, if you look at your map, you can tell where the borders are. But other than that, just getting out there and potentially dying.
I honestly don't think that's true, though, because I think the mist that we're running into, is a mechanic in the game right now. Because one of the things we have not done is we have not built the gas mask and tested to run out into it and see if it still kills you.
That's
Because
true.
I believe it's just probably a gaseous area. Maybe there's
Oh.
insecticide or something, but there's a gas mask built into the game, and it's one of the craftable items. And it was something I was going to test. I just haven't had enough time to play to gather all the materials. We still need to kill a wolf spider and a ladybug to gather materials to get some tier 2 stuff. So I really hadn't messed around with the gas mask, but that was my theory on that, because every border that you're not supposed to go to is clearly marked that, hey, this is the end of the current rendition of the map. So I'm like, I bet we can go that way further if we just put on a gas mask.
Yeah, I agree, because there's other borders around that you run into, and most of the borders from what I've seen don't have that gas area. It's when you get towards that house is where the gas comes in. Towards the shed, there's the lawn edging and stuff that's stacked up there, like it's supposed to be your yard. There's other areas just like it that use block and so forth. So I think Pat's right regarding that mist. It's probably something hidden in that area, but we got a gas mask up first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't notice that there was a gas mask item. That makes a lot more sense, because I was like, why is this area? Because if you do go beyond the yellow tape, in those areas, it does pour out the same gas, and
Right.
so that's what made me think that, okay, this is just beyond the border. But yeah, I mean, it could be potential that you just need a gas mask for that, and there is
Yeah.
something over there.
Yeah, because part of me was just like, why are they creating a gas mask?
Yep.
It can't be just to fight the stink bugs. I
Stink
mean,
bugs.
maybe it could be. That would be the only reason I would think they would have a gas mask. And I was thinking, I bet there's more game mechanics than just the stink bugs to use this on. So that's one of the theories that I wanted to try out, because right now we're so busy, building the house. That's probably building the house, the new house up on the rock that's kind of away from everything. I think we've kind of gotten to the point to where I don't know, what are we at, 8, 9 stories? We just probably need to just venture off into trying to kill like the wolf spider and go ant egg hunting.
Yeah, and I've got the bridge to
Yeah.
Terabithia going 2 directions right now. So heading one towards the house, one towards the shed.
And see, that's probably something else that they'll fix if this is early access, because the building mechanics in this game aren't exactly realistic. And we have a bridge that's going over nothing that stretches almost all halfway across the map.
Yeah, the structural integrity of my leaves may not be accurate into the real world.
Right.
Right, and that begs the question, will they go for the real world, physics? It makes me think that they might, because they do have the structure pieces that you can build.
Yeah, like the edge pieces and the triangles and stuff. Yeah.
Right, yeah, and so the scaffolding is what I was thinking of. Yeah. They do have the scaffolding pieces, and right now the scaffolding pieces really don't. I mean, you can use them for certain things, but they really don't have a purpose at the moment for the most part. So I'm wondering if they're going to eventually put in real world physics where you do have to build scaffolding and kind of structure, put in some supports for your structure. Right. Otherwise your structure will fall.
Yeah, because I mean, part of what made me kind of wonder how they were going to do this was when the first house we built completely out of grass, we had built a skirt around the entire house just to keep stuff out from under the house, and then the ants put a hole in it, and we didn't know what they were doing under the house. I mean, they were just kind of looked like they were congregating for the longest time, and I kept running in the house and seeing stuff scattered on the floor in like the second and third floor we had our chests at, and couldn't figure out what was happening. I'm like, who just threw these acorn shells on the floor? And I'd pick them up and throw them back in the box. And I think one night it was Nick, you and I were on, and I came in and we were talking about the ants had a weird little icon over their head, and I came in up top, and like all of our chests were strewn across the floor, and we finally figured out that it's either a bug or it's working as intended, that the ants were just on the very bottom floor of the house, just chomping away and throwing everything out of the our crates that were like on the third floor. So I think that's kind of a bug, but they basically destroyed the entire underskirt of the house except for one leg, and the whole house stayed standing until that one leg came out from under the house.
Otherwise, I figured once you remove that bottom leaf, it would just be floating in the sky. And I was like, that'd be kind of cool. We'll just have a floating house.
Yeah, we were going to do that. We were going to make it to where we had to use a ramp to jump into the first floor. But as soon as that bottom one came out, the whole floors just started crumbling one next to the other. And that's kind of part of why the old house area is inaccessible unless you want 5 frames per second, because we just left everything on the ground where it fell and went to a new place to build a house.
We moved over to a giant rock and built onto that. And right now that seems to be the way to go because of that issue. Putting your house in an area where other bugs can get to it, because we got overrun by ants, like you said, and no matter how many times we killed the ants off and rebuilt, they just kept coming back. So, there was no point in continuing to keep the house there, even building the traps, which didn't seem to do anything. Didn't deter the ants. The only thing they did was the lower trap, but I don't know how long that trap lasts. I think it's gone now, so clearly it doesn't last all the time.
I think it lasted long enough for us to kill a couple of groups of ants that congregated around it. But yeah, that was a bad place because we kept getting overrun by ants, and we'd no sooner kill off the ants, and then a group of larvae would come through, and we had to kill them off. And then we had spider come through the middle of our little area. I was like, all right, this is a bad place.
Yep, and whatever you do not accidentally hit the ladybug because they are ferocious. Don't let the name fool you, people.
Yeah, we need to kill a ladybug so we can get some tier 2 stuff.
There ain't no lady.
But in the current game we're in, I don't know if it's a bug or something, but I have not seen a ladybug in the last 2 sessions we've played. So I don't know if they died off or if they're bugs.
I went searching last night for a little bit towards the original spawn area when you first start the game, and not a darn one.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with that, if it's just a bug or maybe it's a persistence where they get killed off by the spiders or what's going on. So because I noticed that they're kind of aggressive towards each other and will fight each other.
Yep, right. I think it's pesticides.
But I've noticed that most of the other bugs do respawn because I've watched ants and spiders go at it, and the spider will just wreck a giant group of ants, and the next thing I know, I go back into the area and the ants are back.
Right, and after we had to move the house the first time, one thing that I did notice is that there was, especially I think the next time we played, there was a lot more spiders than we typically had seen.
Right. But yeah, and we've killed that bombardier that runs around the bottom of our base multiple times. We'll kill him, and then he'll be gone for a while, and we'll load up a game, and he'll come back. And we played long enough that I think he spawned twice in our play sessions. I just don't know what happened to the ladybug. I've not seen a single ladybug since we kind of moved houses, and I don't know if it's because the area where our old house was at is where they normally spawn, and we've kind of screwed that up with trash in the area.
Yeah, it's possible, or it's just a silly glitch.
But overall, like I said, we've had fun playing it. I mean, we've played it since it came out, since Microsoft released it in the early access stuff. We downloaded it that first week and played it quite a few times, and then we probably play it once or twice a week now. Maybe sometimes more when we just get a little going.
Yeah, so it's definitely got a lot of playtime, and I think that, for us especially, it'll get, even more playtime as they add more stuff to it. I'm still enjoying it now as it is, so I just, there's supposed to have a patch out this month, I think towards the end of the month. I don't know what the patch is going to do. I'm not quite sure they've said yet what the patch is going to have in it, or what it's going to address, or what bug, if it's just a bug fix patch, or if they're going to actually add new items and various things. I'm assuming it's probably going to be a combination of both, but that'll be nice to see them add some stuff. And supposedly they're supposed to be bringing out patches every month.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely got lots of interesting things and discoveries, and I'm sure there's a lot that we haven't seen yet because we haven't really gotten courageous enough to venture in the anthole, which I think that's probably what we're going to do next. Because we've pretty much explored just about everything, I think, outside of the little gaseous area and the anthole that's pretty close to our base.
Yes, anthole.
Yeah, we haven't explored that. We went far enough down to where we started to see some soldier ants, and we backed out. But we've gotten to the point now, I think, where we're killing soldier ants pretty easily between the three of us.
Yeah, it's definitely a group game, so find some good people to play with, and it's really fun. I don't see it really single player adventure.
Yeah, so definitely a fun game, and I'm looking forward to more. I'm ready for some more content because I think we have reached close to the end of what we're about to do once we get tier 2 stuff. But we got to find some ladybugs. We got to go venture in some ant holes, and most of the time, games like this, if something bad happens, I'm usually pretty over and pretty quick. Like, we ran into a bug where, for whatever reason, I logged out of the multiplayer game a few nights ago, logged back in the other night, and all my stuff was gone. I'm like, what happened? I logged out in the base, and now it spawned me back at the beginning, and I lost all my stuff. Normally, I'd be annoyed. I would be pretty mad at that, but I was just annoyed enough to where I'm like, well, I'll just start it over, because we had built up quite a stockpile of stuff, so I was able to pretty much get everything back that I had before that happened. So we keep a pretty large stash of stuff in the base now, especially that we're on the rock.
And we can actually keep it now instead of getting destroyed by bugs.
Right. Yeah, we even built a trampoline on top of our house.
Yeah, right. For fun. Or death.
Or death. If you're Shane and forget to equip your dandelion.
One time I forget my dandelion.
And you faceplant.
I took it to work today just to make sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool game, and like we all said, I'm excited to see more from it and see what they come out with. So yeah, I think we'll continue playing it for quite a while and see this game turn into continue to hopefully continue the momentum it has, because I think it's going to be in the end it's going to turn out to be a really cool game. So.
Yeah, definitely needs some fleshing out, but still highly recommended.
Yep, especially if you got a group of friends you normally play co-op games with. We find that we end up, as a group, when we play co-op games, we end up screwing off most of the time, and this is a perfect game for it.
Yep, definitely. You can get a lot accomplished and nothing accomplished at the same time playing this game.
Yes, you can build a bridge to nowhere for no reason, or actually go kill things.
Or remove a piece of bridge and watch your friend fall into the bugs.
Yes. That's what you get for teasing the bugs.
That is, Grounded. And does anybody have anything else they want to say about Grounded before we move on to dessert?
Nope. Good game. You guys should check it out.
I completely agree. Check it out.
All right. Excellent.